We had Tea out with a profit warning on Friday. Your thoughts on that profit warning, and perhaps which stocks within the sector are your favorites?
We think, in terms of just getting a sense of those numbers, is that they still remain profitable. So that's a good thing. But I think in terms of the gains on biological assets, probably that's where we're probably going to see a big decline. And obviously they mentioned the decline in coffee earnings. So that's really where we think that could happen. I think in the sector we are really looking at Ria Vipingo. That's the sisal producer, and we think their profits are going to hold up reasonably well. And in terms of profitability, and valuation, it's going to be good for them. So we like Ria Vipingo in the agricultural sector.
So Ria Vipingo, Tea. We also had Captura out with results. Profits were up somewhat, but others remained flat. But looking at the outlook for the sector as a whole, given the type of problems that they are currently facing right now.
Yes, I think this year we're probably going to see a very moderate increase in profits. I mean, some of the companies last year actually had some one-off gains in terms of operations, and also the gains in biological assets was a lot bigger last year, and this year that increase won't be as dramatic. The currency has strengthened somewhat, so from an exchange point of view also they're earning less in Kenya shillings. So for the sector in general, we're expecting to see this general slowdown.
General slowdown within the agricultural sector. Let's look at Kenya Airways. Came out on Friday saying that it's looking to cut 300 jobs around about. Your thoughts on Kenya Airways? And the unions are not happy about this.
Well, Kenya Airways now has around 4,000, 5,000 staff. About half of them are crew, so about 2,000. And they're saying they're going to cut down 300. We think the majority of those jobs are going to be within the crew. But overall, we think over the next couple of years, Kenya Airways is actually going to be hiring. I think the overall strategy now for them is really to possibly, I think they're probably going to rehire the new employees under contract, so as to minimize exposure to industrial action, for example, as well as pay hikes.
Let's look at Kenya Reinsurance. It established a RIA board late last week. It's tackling a new segment within the market. How do you think they will perform in this new segment of the market with them going for this Sharia banking?
I think it's a new area. We haven't had many reinsurance companies really targeting this segment. It's still a niche area, but growing significantly globally. So I think Kenya Re is just following up with its strategy to sort of venture into this segment. I think if you look also at the other aspect that they promised, was that this year they're also going to tackle the oil and gas segment in terms of tackling that area. And overall, I think it's a new area. At least they're going to get the first business that's coming out of there.
When you look at the insurance sector and compare it to the banking sector, which sector would you be preferring at this stage? We know that the insurance sector, with results that have come out of late, haven't really matched up to what investors had expected. So your thoughts on the insurance sector as well as the banking sector?
For the full year ending 2011, the insurance sector performed a bit poorly, and the reason is because the insurance sector generally makes their money out of investment income, and for 2011 the performance wasn't too good. We think in 2012 the sector in general performed very well. We've seen the stock market up now over 20%. And so we think for 2012 the insurance sector is going to be quite attractive, and we're actually recommending it. I think it's a matter of timing and volatility. Earnings from the banking sector are a lot more stable, regardless of whether interest rates go up or go down. Insurance sector is a little bit more volatile because of the investments that I've just described.
Looking at market performance, last week we did have the NSE 20 being pretty flat to the negative for most part, but on Friday's session the market did tick up. Perhaps what kind of trading ranges could we see coming through from the bourse, and which stocks do you have on your radar this week?
Well, actually, on Friday, what happened is that we had almost 75% of trading coming through by foreign investors. So we saw quite a bit of activity, buying activity on that front. So that's why we saw a bit of pickup in terms of the gains. We think going into this week, still going to be looking at earnings. Banking sector are going to be releasing, and some of the other companies releasing first half results. So it's a general sense about what's going to happen, but the banking sector is certainly one that we'll be watching at, especially the smaller banks.